let's move on to step 10, which is building our universals and installing them onto the drive shafts. I've been playing around in the camera, and it's a little bit small pieces, and I'll try to describe it the best I can, but it may not show up on video very well. We're going to take the rounded part, which is part number AX3078-4B, which is this unit right here. And you can see that in the side, one side of the ball is a slot, and it goes pretty much the whole length, and then the other side is a small hole. So that's what we're going to be working with as we put it together. The hole, and then a slot. If you take a look at the other end, which is a 30784A, you're going to see that it has a 4 slots, or actually 4 little corners on here with a cross slot in the top. And then on this end is a hole for the universal ball to go in, and then a small hole on the side here for the pin. And we're going to be working with the small hole and the pin. Also in the kit is a short little stud that has a hole in it, and that piece is 30166. See if I can do this without dropping it. You can see that it has a little hole in it. And then the next part we're dealing with is a small pin, which is 1.5 by 11 millimeters. And that's going to be this little dealie right here. Now we're going to put that all together. First thing we're going to do is take our pin that has the hole in it, and we're going to drop it through, not the slot, but we're going to drop it through the hole that's in the top here, just like so. And we're going to spin it so that the hole aligns inside the slot. So we slid the pin in through the hole, and the little hole in the pin aligns through the slot. Now we're very simply going to drop the rounded portion over the top, and the hole that you see is going to align with the hole in the pin. Now is the hard part, trying to hold it all together for the camera. And then we're going to slide the very small pin into the hole and align it up with the hole in the other pin so that it slides all the way through and holds the ball on. The manual shows a pretty good picture of that. Now to hold the pin in, we're going to use the plastic part number 80084-3, which is this unit here, and we're going to slide it over the part that has the cross on it, and we're going to press it down so that it captures the pin. It should look like that when you're done. Should move freely without any binding. Not that hard, just a lot of little pieces to try to line up. You'll get the hang of it. If we look at this cross section here, there's a threaded hole in there, and we're going to grab our part number 80084-5, which is the splined end of the drive shaft. And if you look down in the, this is the straight end and then the coned end. If you look down in the coned end, there are 4 little holes in there that these 4 on the universal slide into. So we're going to set that down and just rotate it until it pops down. It's pretty cool because it also captures the retaining ring here. Come on, focus in. It also captures the retaining ring as you put it on so that that does not slide off. Now we need to take the bevel screw. We're going to put a little bit of Loctite on it. And we're going to insert that down inside the shaft into the hole that's in the end of the universal. Now be careful because you can get a false reading on that when you screw it in. If it just screws in a little bit, then that's not right. You're going to have to back it out and make sure that it screws in several turns. Once it touches, go ahead and snug it down. You don't want to over tighten it because that is plastic and you don't want to crush it, but it does need to be somewhat tight. And that's what the unit looks like when it's done. You're going to build 4 universals. There are 2 part number 80084-5, which is the splined unit. Make sure you get -5 because there are several different lengths and we want to make sure that we get the right length. So you're going to take 2 of the universals and build 2 spline shafts. And then you're going to take and get the part number 80084-1, which is the smooth shaft on the outside with the splines on the inside. And you're going to go ahead and build 2 of those with the universals inside. I put a little drop of thread lock on my counter there. Just kind of easier to dab it on than it is to use a whole bottle. But it dried up a little bit. So let's go ahead and build 2 of these, and they're going to insert the same way. It drops down. Go ahead and put your screw in. Make sure it's actually getting in the hole of the universal and screw it in and snug it down. So we're going to build 2 of those. The other thing you're going to want to do, make sure there's no binding. You're also going to slide the shafts in and make sure that there's no binding there. If it doesn't freely slide in and out, take a look and maybe there's some little spars on your shafts that you're going to want to get rid of. That's all there is to step number 10. Let's go ahead and lay all of our parts out for step number 11 and get rolling on that. I've already pre-assembled some, pretty straightforward. We're going to use the little set screws that are in there. They're actually fairly long, and in one end is a hex. You can see there. We're going to put our wrench on that. And get your parts number. What are these? These are the 80057-2s. And they're the angled link ends. I think that's what they call them. And we're going to go ahead and insert the set screw in there about halfway. It's a long one, so get ready to do that. You can probably just do all 8 of these at the same time. You have to build 8 of these units. So go ahead and do those. Once they're done, we're going to grab our link. And these are the 7x87.5s. And in the end is a screw hole. We're going to, very simply, for the first end, just go ahead and screw that in until it touches. Just go until it touches. Screw it in. Then we're going to screw the second end in on the other side. If you look at the directions, it says note direction. So as we're looking at it, what it's telling us is that each one of these, the links have to be opposed. So they need to look like this, with one going up and the other end going down. The other thing that we need to look at as far as the note direction goes is the ball ends that go in. You can use the plastic ones that come in your kit or the metal ones. We have the upgraded metal balls here, and you have to remember, like we showed you earlier, they have a flange on there, and we need to note the direction on the flange. Basically what I'm seeing here is that as you build them, you're going to build an opposing set for the front and an opposing set for the back. And if you take a look, the flange goes to the outside on one set and to the inside on the second set. You're going to build two sets exactly like this. If there's any question about which way the ends go or which way the flanges go, you can very simply just match them up to the directions and set them down to make sure that you're getting them going and on in the right direction. So for this one, I'm taking a look, and this is the way that it sits. So for this end, the flange goes out, and it goes out on the same direction on the other side. And press that in. And if I lay this down, it matches up all four perfectly with the directions. So that's all there is for step number 11. Let's grab out of the bags all of our pieces for step 12, and we'll get going on that one. On to step 12. Pretty easy step, it's all straightforward. We're going to build our links. We've actually just put the cone ends in. You do have to note the direction on these. One is labeled 3, and I actually just put 3 little hash marks in this one, just so I know which one is which, and then this one has 2 hash marks. It's labeled 2 off of your tree. Number 3, you're going to take the short ends, and number 2, you're going to take the short ends, and they're going to go together basically like this. You can see the short ends here, and then the long ends. Basically like that. And then you're going to install your balls on here with the flanges out on all 4 units. Just like this. This is only 2 of them. You're going to have to repeat this process twice. And just make sure that you line them up according to the book as to how you want to do them. Make sure that you do note all the direction for the flanges on the balls that you put on. From this step forward on these 2 pieces, we are going to be using an upgrade and using the high lift links, which are an alloy unit. They're basically the same, except for they are made out of alloy. And so as we move forward, when we install these onto the suspension, instead of using the ones that come in the manual, we will be using these, but you don't have to. Why are we using these? Because we can. It's all about upgrades, baby, isn't it? It's all about upgrades. We put on the, in the previous step I didn't mention, but we did use the upgraded steering knuckles and carrier as well. So we're going to be using those from this step forward. So that was pretty easy on step number 12. Make sure that you do take note and that you build 2 sets of them. And you'll find the parts and the part numbers in the manual. And all the part numbers are correct. So now we're going to drag out all of our parts, and they are all existing parts, and we're going to start to assemble the front axle. So let's put the links and the drive shaft and stuff on there. So let's drag out all the parts for step number 13 and get rolling.